On NBA Draft Night, we see each player drafted be given their NBA comps from different panelists on the broadcast. But beyond that, some players already have the fame and the acknowledgement where they come into the NBA with already NBA level comparisons. And those players usually have unrealistic comparisons that they have to strive their whole career to live up to. For example, Andrew Wiggins. Now, if you are heavy into college or even high school basketball, you would know who Andrew Wiggins was even before he was drafted. Andrew Wiggins had one of the most iconic high school mixtapes of all time. Coming out of high school, Wiggins was already a legend just off his high school mixtape alone. It even got so wild that people started calling him Baby LeBron and Maple Jordan since he was from Canada. So when he arrived in the NBA, he had to live up to the standard because from what they understood from the NBA media, they knew that this kid had the potential to be the next all-time great. Andrew Wiggins' first 5 years in the NBA were a waste to some people because of the lazy comparison that they decided to give him. I say lazy because he was only compared to LeBron James because of his athleticism. In his high school mixtape, most of the highlights are going to be athletic plays, and it really had nothing to do with how they actually played, just the dunks. So the media made that comparison and put all that pressure on him, and when he didn't live up to it in his first 3 years in the NBA, they decided to call him all type of things, with the main thing calling him a bust, which means that he didn't live up to the hype. But it's not fair to Andrew Wiggins because he was never going to be able to live up to the hype of the next LeBron James because LeBron James, to many people, is the best player of all time. Fast forward to right now. Andrew Wiggins is an NBA champion, was the second best player on the NBA championship team, one of the best defenders in the league, and a top 40 player. You know why he was able to reach all these things? It's because in Golden State, they allowed him to be himself. In Minnesota, the Timberwolves not only wanted him, but needed him to be a superstar. But in Golden State, they didn't really need that. They had Clay, they had Steph, and they had Draymond. They had their superstars already. But if you could be a star in your role, that's where you would be amongst those names. And that's what Andrew Wiggins did. And that's why, at this moment, he is a champion. The comparisons that really get me mad are the Kevin Durant comparisons because they never truly make sense, but you know why the media makes them. Like, I'm going to name these players, and you comment below why they are compared to Kevin Durant. The first player is Chet Holmgren, second player being Brandon Ingram, Michael Porter Jr., Imani Bates, Kristaps Porzingis, and Victor Wembanyama. You know why they're compared to Kevin Durant, but the reasons why they are so dumb because it's only one of those guys that actually plays like Kevin Durant. Kristaps and Chet don't have the handle or the fluidity like Kevin Durant. Michael Porter Jr. is just a 6'9" sniper, so I see no comparison. And Victor is just a unicorn. We have never seen a Victor Wembanyama in our lives, so it's no need to even try to compare him to Kevin Durant. But a player that actually plays like Kevin Durant is Imani Bates. Now, if you don't know who that is, he's another high school phenom. The kid was 6'5" at 13 years old and would shoot over any defender that they put in front of him. And when you look at their games, they were actually pretty similar. Like to use the long cross as their go-to move, a heavy face-up game, and they love to do the one dribble pull-up. But the reason why I hate the comparison is because they gave it to Imani Bates at 13 years old. The kid wasn't even in high school yet, and they said he was the next Kevin Durant. Do you know how hard it was and still how hard it is for him to ever catch up to that? Kevin Durant at this moment is a top 15 basketball player of all time. And y'all said at the age of 13, this kid will be the next Kevin Durant. Now we look at his career. Today he has a lackluster college career, was terrible in his first college stint in Memphis, and now he's at a lower Division I school in Eastern Michigan. But when he failed in Memphis, the media destroyed him. And it wasn't even his fault because he was never going to be able to live up to that standard that y'all put him up to. Brandon Ingram is a 6'11" small forward with a thin frame. Kevin Durant is a 6'11" small forward with a thin frame. There's the comparison right there. Brandon Ingram is the next Kevin Durant. No. With B.I. being one of my favorite players in the league, I've always hated this comparison because I see it's only about the height and the frame because when you watch them two play, they play nothing alike. Brandon Ingram's game has transited to where he is legit one of, if not the best mid-range player in the league. He uses his elite footwork, pairing that with multiple counters in the mid-range, and really the only way you could stop him in the mid-range is if he misses. And unlike KD, his mid-range work is usually all back to the basket work, rarely faces up like KD. Now, when we look at games, whose game does Brandon Ingram really remind you of? Kobe Bryant. I've always felt like Kobe is a better comparison for Brandon Ingram because they literally have the same skill set when it comes to how they score. Like, I know y'all have seen that video where they mix Brandon Ingram highlights with Kobe Bryant highlights, and it's literally Brandon Ingram through his career doing almost the exact same moves that Kobe was doing. That's a fair comparison off their game and not just their frame or their looks. But will I ever say Brandon Ingram is the next Kobe Bryant? No, I will not. Because why would I put all that pressure on Brandon Ingram? Well, I know he will never be able to reach Kobe's level, because we know Kobe today as being a top 5 basketball player of all time. And if we think realistically, Brandon Ingram will not be able to do that. Another comparison that I really hated was Steph Curry to Trae Young. Because again, when we look at the games, they play nothing alike. But the reason why they compared them is because Trae Young in college was a crazy three-point shooter. And I get it. He was shooting threes from 35 feet and beyond. But when we're looking at the game, they don't look alike at all. Steph Curry is mostly off-ball and is one of the best off-ball players of all time. But Trae Young is literally a ball-dominant guard that is the offense. It's two totally different things. So to compare them and to say Trae Young will be the next Steph Curry, again, when we look at Steph Curry being a top 10 player of all time, when Trae Young will probably never reach that is a stupid comparison that he will never live up to. Now, there are some comparisons that I actually like comparing Zion Williamson to Charles Barkley, two dominant paint beasts. I actually get that comparison. Comparing LeBron James to Luka, two big-ass guards who have no flaws in their games, I get that. But unrealistic ones, they have to stop, because all it's doing is just destroying young talent. And it's just something that's just not fair to them. But that's it for the video. Let me know how you like this video. We will be back with more content throughout the week. Peace out.